My name is Ellen Ognessian, and I'm the great-granddaughter of an Armenian Genocide survivor.
My name is Joseph Kazazian, and I'm a third-generation Armenian Genocide survivor.
My name is Alexandra Basmajian, and I am the great-granddaughter of a genocide survivor.
Hey, my name is Karin, and I'm a third-generation genocide survivor.
My name is Astrid Kakopyan, and I'm a third-generation genocide survivor.
I don't remember much of what my parents told me about the genocide growing up, but they did send me to an Armenian school for about 15 years of my life, where I learned the basic background information and was able to apply that to my family's story.
In 2007, when I visited Armenia, my mom took me to my great-grandfather's house in Ararat, where he was raised after the genocide. My great-grandfather left a book of his memoirs of the genocide, every single event that happened, how he was forced to move back to Greece, how he was saved numerous times by certain officials. All he ever wanted was for this book to stay in the family, and he passed it down to his daughter, my grandmother. My grandmother gave it to my mother, who said it would then be given to me.
I remember this one time I was sitting with my great-grandma. I was like maybe 5 years old at the time, maybe 6, and I noticed that she had these slits in her ears, and like they went all the way down on both sides, and I was just like, "Grandma, what happened?" And basically she told me the story, and it goes back to the time of the genocide, where when she was 12, 13 years old, the Turks, they came to her door and they knocked on the door, and she answered, and basically they saw that she had gold earrings on, and obviously they wanted them, so they just very harshly ripped the earrings from her ears, and they started bleeding, and that's why now she has slits in her ears.
Something that my mother told me about the way my family has survived and come to prosper today is that my grandmother's father was disguised as a little girl instead of a little boy, so that when the Turkish soldiers came into their home in Tajikistan, they wouldn't take him away. That's the only reason why he survived and lived on, and that's the only reason why I'm here today. Later on, he went on to fight in World War II against the Nazis, and he died in that war.
Do I think it's wrong that Turkish people do hate us for protesting? And sometimes I would have to say yes.
It's definitely not wrong for the Turkish people to hate Armenians for advocating for genocide recognition, and the reason being is because it's not something they were taught. If you open up the average Turkish history book, it doesn't even mention anything about the Armenian genocide, let alone Armenian massacres. In fact, in Turkey today, it's a crime to speak out for Armenian genocide recognition, and it's something you could definitely be prosecuted for.
The Turkish people today are not at fault for being angry at the Armenians, for going against the Armenians' fight for recognition of the Armenian genocide by the Ottoman Turk. It's not their fault that they were raised in a society that either never spoke of the Armenian genocide or completely silenced anyone who tried to bring it up.
After I came back from Armenia in 2007, I joined student council in my high school, and I was approached by a couple of council members who were interested in the Armenian genocide, and they wanted me to represent my community during a genocide event held in downtown LA. And after participating in the event and seeing how personal it is to me, I decided to become a political science major to continue fighting for my people and the recognition of the genocide.
I've been involved in Armenian politics, and it's been very lucrative for me personally, and it's been very satisfying as well. I got a very young start at it when I was 16, working on local campaigns in Glendale, California, and then moving on to state and national level elections. Currently I'm a political science major, and I plan on being involved in politics for a long time.
In that respect, I guess it's important to be an advocate for genocide recognition because, our parents were involved, our grandparents were involved. Storytelling alone is a way to get involved, but at the same time, it's, I guess, education is the best way because so few textbooks talk about it, and I definitely know the Turkish people, the majority of them, don't know what's going on. They just know a bunch of scary, angry Armenian people yelling and screaming and accusing them of terrible, terrible things that their families may have done at some point, and I do not blame them at all for like the negative perspective that they have of us. It's completely understandable. It's just someone attacking your personal story and your personal perception of your whole family, and of course you're going to get defensive. Of course you're going to feel like they're in the wrong for doing so. But it's just the way history was manipulated. Everyone in charge just found a way to switch the history around, and they'd educate the Turkish people generation after generation about what didn't happen. But I guess we're evidence that it did. And of course, just getting a signature on a piece of paper is pretty much what we're fighting for, but it's so much more than that. It's recognition. It's understanding. We don't care for the sympathy. We don't care for the pity. We just care for someone to look at us and understand that we don't know anything about our families past third generation. There's nothing to be told. They're bones in deserts and blood on swords, and as cheesy and movie-esque as that sounds, it hits a chord with you. Years and years later, it always hits a chord with you. And I guess that's the best we can do.